Ladies and gentlemen, I've been hyped all morning. I've been hyped all morning. My goodness. My goodness, I've been hyped all morning.
GM. Dominic Vane, my friend. How are you doing?
Dude, I'm doing so good. It's unbelievable. I'm doing so
You know
good.
what?
I
We were,
can't even believe it.
bro, we are just out of community week. You know, all the chaos, all the energy. And you think you are going to rest? But no, man, no. We come with double spiciness, chaos, and a very good topic to discuss today. Right, Dom?
Yeah. Discussing something that had the most debated, the most discussed PIP idea we have ever had. Now, to be fair, it is also the largest PIP idea that has ever been put out there. But man, has it been such a delight to read that thread. If you've been involved, you know how spicy it's been. Some people think it's the best thing ever. Other things think it's the worst thing ever. There's a bunch of debating going on. It's super fun to see all this debate happening. And I think that's good. I think that's healthy. That's exactly what we need. We need people to discuss things like this thoroughly and figure out what the best course of action is. So I'm excited, man. I think it's been going great. I'm so happy to see all the discussion that's been happening because that just means everyone is passionate about the outcome of this pit, which I think everyone can agree on. So, which is phenomenal to see. It's great to see. So
Yeah, it shows how much they love Star Atlas and how protective everyone is to this IP, to this project. And yeah, man, it's super good to see the Infinite Pip thread. It's the Infinite Pip. Everyone's talking, everyone's discussing. Today, you have the opportunity to voice your questions, your concerns, your opinions, because this is all about Star Atlas. This is democracy. This is decentralization, and you guys will be participating in this process today.
exactly. And if you guys have no idea what we're talking about, we're going to be discussing a PIP today. If you guys don't know what the contents of that PIP are, I will link the PIP idea, but we'll also be going over it with our guests here shortly. So let me find that for you guys. There we go. Boom, boom, bang. go ahead and go here if you'd like to kind of read up. I mean, you got about 2,000 messages to read up on because there's been some great debate happening. 2,172 messages to be exact. Wow. Thank you for that, Quindar. Appreciate you sending that number. I was actually looking for the exact number of messages in that thread and I couldn't find it. So 2,172 messages. My
That's
goodness.
crazy.
Holy moly, dude. It's been absolutely popping in there, which is awesome. But before that, like I said, if you have no idea what we're talking about, we will be going over it here shortly. But before that, like every Atlas Brew, we're going to go over some noteworthy news here. Number one being Community Week was last week. It's over. Community Week is always an absolute vibe. I really enjoyed it. I think it was a huge success from the community team looking outward and looking at everything. We all think it was a major success. We saw all the fun that people were having last week. We saw the bot. The bot was a big standout that everyone had fun with. And we want to bring that back and maybe in a different way. Maybe in a way that stays. You know, maybe in a way that isn't tied to just one singular event. We'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on that bot sticking around and us doing maybe something a little bit different with it and kind of rewarding people for their activity in Discord all the time and not just for Community Week. So if you guys enjoyed that bot, we're thinking of keeping it around somehow. So we'll be talking about that, but that goes into my next thing, which is Santi. Our boy Santi is out this week. He is on vacation. He's earned it. He's been absolutely killing it, man. We love Santi. Everyone tag Santi. Give him a W, man. Hold on. Let me tag Santi. Give him a W.
Send you some
Give him a
love.
W, man. Give him a W, man. Give him a W. Yeah, much love to Santi. Worked his ass off last week. Shout out to him. We all love Santi. Appreciate you, brother.
Santi.
And then, of course, our UE5 update did go out last Wednesday. We've heard a lot of praise over that shooter update. We've gotten a lot of praise over that. We've gotten a lot of praise for the new XP system, getting crew packs. It's definitely grindy. What we have not gotten praise over is those damn Punabs. Nerf them right now.
Punabs are the hottest crew members in the galaxy right now.
Nerf them.
We love Punabs.
Yeah, I do love Punabs. They are pivotal to the Star Atlas lore. It's all fun. Get them out of the arena. That's all I ask. Anyways, Town Hall Part 2 is next Wednesday. Next Wednesday, everybody. So we're not going to be having an Atlas Brew. Town Hall Part 2, Star Atlas Summer Town Hall Part 2 is next Wednesday. We have something pretty big that we're going to be announcing at that. So definitely make sure you guys join that. I'm also going to be dropping a link to the event that you guys can mark interested on. Would appreciate that. But yeah, make sure you join that town hall. It's going to be a big one. Got to be a big one. That's for damn sure. Probably have something you guys were not expecting.
Some people say it's the biggest. Some people.
It's an announcement of an announcement of an announcement of an announcement of an announcement. We're going
Exactly.
How much deeper can we go with that? You know,
Queen Dad knows how this company rolls.
A couple more things here. Number one being the Star Atlas Economic Forum, the monthly Star Atlas Economic Forum to be exact, is tomorrow. If you are interested in the Star Atlas economy, if you have a question or you just want to tell Chris that he sucks and Gareth that he sucks, then come to the Star Atlas Economic Forum tomorrow. Tomorrow, everybody. Tomorrow, you guys can mark interested on that. It's tomorrow at 11 a.m. my time, which is Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern time. So go ahead and mark interested on that. And then the last thing. If you guys want a secret roll that will only be live until the end of this Atlas Brew to celebrate this amazing freaking journey that we've had with this PIP, you guys can go to the secret channel under the governance category, and there's a debater role that you guys can grab. I can go ahead and link that for you guys. And then go grab that role. It'll only be... No, Agent Solace. There's no master in front of that. All right, anyway. Yeah, no longer... It's a secret until... It's a secret after this. It's for this group. You had to be there. All right, everybody. I think we've gotten rid of all the noteworthy news. I think we're ready to bring the authors of this PIP, the people who are going to execute on this PIP, to start talking about it, Before we do, Jose and myself, we obviously have our own opinions on this, but I just want to make it abundantly clear that the opinions that do come from Jose and I are simply our own opinions and don't represent Automata in any way at all. Okay?
Absolutely, Dom.
All right. Guys, if you guys could raise your hand, I'd love to bring you guys up on stage. Start talking about the Infinite Star Atlas IP universe. Do-do-do.
Yes, sir. How's it
Yo,
going,
yo.
guys?
What's going on, dude?
GM,
GM. Yeah, first of all, it's definitely been fun to watch all the comments, and we'll get their thoughts in a second, but it's got to be an interesting experience for Sterling and Stone to go through a DAO process.
for sure. I don't think they ever seen something like this before.
I was actually just going to, I would love to get their opinions on kind of what has been happening. It's just all the different opinions being thrown at them in a public setting. That definitely not easy. That's for dang sure.
Yeah, well, we wait for Sean and welcome, David.
Hello.
While we wait for Sean to pop up, just want to share a little bit of the thought process and the vision that went into this. First, we really live in a transmedia world, right? Books become movies, movies become games, games become movies. And I really believe Star Atlas has all the ingredients to become the next big sci-fi IP. If we look at what's out there, we basically have Star Trek and Star Wars. There's some other shows and stuff, but as far as really becoming a cultural phenomenon, those are the big two. And I think Star Atlas is the next big one. I do think that increasing the fan base of Star Atlas via books will lift all ships. I do think it's going to be a huge boom for all IP related Star Atlas businesses. Think shirts and ship models and all of these products, and all of these businesses could explode in revenue, which would generate some royalties for Automata. I do think it will increase the daily active users across all gaming products. And that's been a hotly debated topic in the chat. And, the thing that I can guarantee, because it's true for all businesses, is that people will always funnel through other products and services. Last night I shared the example of the Bellagio, and I know the stats because a friend of mine's a casino marketing expert. It's like, yeah, about a third of the people that walk in front of the Bellagio and watch the water show, the fountain show, will walk in the casino. And of course, a percentage of those will gamble. And that is true for every businesses. Like in my businesses, I have sold books and then sold them consumable products on the back end. And the consumable products was where the money is, and was and still is. So I do think that we can increase the daily active users across all gaming products. And I think that that's what we need. What's the number one KPI, the key performance indicator or metric that we need to focus on right now? It's increasing daily active users in UE5, in HoloSim, and Sage. Timing's been another big topic. And, great marketing takes months and sometimes years to prepare. By the time the first book comes out, season 0 might be out, could be out, and it could be perfect timing. And the last point I'll make, and then Sean, I see Sean's here, so is I do think that there's a strong chance that the Star Atlas IP could be exponentially bigger than the game. And that's been true for Star Wars. It's been true for a lot of big IPs. So again, I wouldn't be surprised if shows and movies and books and merchandise become exponentially bigger than the games themselves. So anyways, with that, I do want to introduce Sean. I've known Sean for, I think, about 6 years. We've been in masterminds together. That's how we met. We've been in think tanks together. We've strategized together on some stuff. And, it was just an epiphany. I'm like, well, Sean's already doing what we need. They're creating fiction and they're good at marketing the books. And again, no disrespect to the content creation side. which has gotten exponentially easier with all these AI tools that are out there. The real value in my mind is their ability to market the books. You know, having sold a couple million books is no small feat. And even though like I'm a marketer, I don't know how to go market books on Kindle and all the platforms that they use to promote the content. So anyways, I trust Sean. I know Sean enough that I know he's a solid human being. And I think Sterling and Stone is a great candidate to create the foundational layer of IP. And let's face it, Newt, massive credit to Newt, has created enough lore for probably 50 novels and infinite number of movies and TV series. So, you know, this is just kind of taking what's already been done with Newt and Danny and, you know, really fleshing that out into the written format. It's also worth noting that Danny will be approving all the storylines. Newt will be doing the lore transfer. So, you know, the making sure that the continuity and the nature of the universe is kept intact and protected. So anyway, Sean, feel free to take it away. I think Sean's also going to share his slide presentation when he's ready. Anyways, welcome back.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. So first off, I'm just sorry I suck at Discord so hard that I was sitting there for like 7 minutes and I thought it was waiting to begin and I didn't realize I had to unmute my stupid microphone or speaker. So sorry, I'm way, way better at strategy and content than I am at Discord. This place makes me feel like I'm in some sort of surreal Twilight Zone. And over the last 9 days, watching all of this like live shit show is just very entertaining and kind of crazy. So just a little bit of context. Yes, I've known Virtual, I guess, I don't know if we use real names, for many, many years. And the last event that I saw him in, it was just in passing. And he said, hey, you got to remind me to tell you about Star Atlas. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't have the vocabulary around it. And it was just like, oh, cool, we'll talk later. And when we talked later, I was kind of floored. Because what I'm used to doing is these big IP strategies, and Sterling and Stone is one part of a much, much larger picture. And normally I'm piecing strategies together for intellectual property. I didn't know what this whole thing was, and as soon as I saw it, I was like, holy motherfucker, that is some low-hanging fruit. Because this is a world, and anytime you have, it's very difficult to go to 0 to 1 in any kind of space. This is already a world. This already has a rabid community around it, which really matters. So I look for things that can scale. And normally, I'm just designing a strategy. So the deck, the PIP that you guys see, that normal strategizing is usually a result of me flying somewhere or somebody flying into Austin, spend 2 days together, and then I look at their whole entire map and say, here's how you can make a lot more money on the intellectual property you already have. We didn't really do that. We did something different because I just got really excited and I was like, how would I build this if this was my property? And how can I bridge the assets that I already have with this big storyteller team over at Sterling and Stone? And so we just batted back and forth in email for a long time and figured like out a way where here's kind of a win-win where both of our companies are taking some risk and we can really explode this. So there's been a lot of focus on like recovering the investment in book sales and things like that. To be clear, that is not the goal. 1,000 extra players is not the goal. Those are not things that we have control of. What we have control of is blowing up the world and making the overall world a lot more valuable. And the actual trying to make money on books is not a good way to make money. Publishing is very difficult. IP is different. IP is super scalable. IP has no ceiling on it. IP can turn into billions. You need eyeballs for that. So Hollywood is like, Hollywood's about to break and they're still on a very old model where they're looking at eyeballs. They're actually not looking at book sales. So normally when we're looking for traction on a book, we're not trying to get sales, we're trying to get eyeballs. So something that looks like it might not have a lot of traction, that's because we're not trying to get dollars for it. We're trying to get as many eyeballs and earballs or whatever it is on that piece of content because then people care exponentially more. So for example, the traditional model, like Kindle Unlimited is basically the world's second largest bookstore right after Amazon, which is the largest bookstore. Between those two entities, that's about 95% of the book market. And if you're going for KU, which is just page reads, it's like, I don't even know, it's 0.0003 cents or something per page. So that's not really a good way to make money. But if you can get a lot of traction on that stuff, then it matters. So for example, we had one book that was one of the best books that we had in our library. It's called Pretty Killer. You can go look at it. You can see that there's a lot of a lot of reviews, but not a lot of sales. It's got a great pitch. It's exactly the kind of thing that HBO loves. And so that's what we were engineering it for. But it only had like, I don't know, less than 1,000 sales. It wasn't a good selling book, but it's a really good book and it's really commercial Hollywood fare. So what we did, we stopped trying to sell it, and instead we spent about $10,000 trying to market it and get as many eyeballs on it as possible, make it free, make it something that people couldn't help but download, a bunch of promotions around it, got over 150,000 reads, and then we got like full booked. We're able to pitch it to a lot of places, and that one, within a month of that strategy, we had a showrunner for that TV show. Now, that particular example, not great because that project fell apart when the strike happened, but it's the strategy. You can see another one in real time happening right now. Today, this is just a coincidence that we happen to have this brew today, but if you look for a book with my name on it called I Am John Titor, that book came out, this is a 2-year strategy. That book came out this January for a deal we made over a year before that with a production company. They're called Versus, and I have permission to tell you guys this story. So they're called Versus, and they make a lot of reality television, but they're trying to move it, not reality television, like docuseries. And they're trying to move into features, fiction, limited series. They want to get stuff on Apple TV. And so they came to us with kind of like, hey, what IP do we have that we can create? Because the way Hollywood works, nothing gets greenlit without IP anymore. It just doesn't happen. Even really, really big things. Like, I don't know how many of you know about the Savannah Bananas. Savannah Bananas is this, like, well, they're not a big team. They're a minor league team, but they're basically like the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball. And they have more TikTok followers than any team in the MLB. They're sold out for 4 years. Yes, there we go. They're sold out for 4 years. The owner of this team is also in a group that Virtual and I are in. And we created some IP for Savannah Bananas. Even though they had the biggest, social media following in sports, that wasn't IP. Hollywood doesn't consider that IP. Books are IP. Books are scalable. And so when Versus came to us, they gave us basically their whole catalog and said, hey, what do you see here that has commercial potential? And there was this really awesome docuseries that they wanted to make about this dude who said he was a time traveler in 2001. He used to be all over forums. And it's a really cool story, except that the last episode, it turns out the dude is a dentist in Florida, and that's like, sad trombone. And so we fictionalized that story with an 18-month strategy. So now it went live, and we're just getting a few reviews, just letting it sit into the ecosystem, letting Amazon's machine learning understand who that ideal buyer is. And then today we have a BookBub. BookBub, for those of you who don't know, is kind of the Death Star of book marketing. If you get an ad there, you get Mongo traffic. You should get enough. Now, we're not trying to make money on this book. The ad is going to a free download of it. I don't know if it's hit yet today. I haven't actually looked. But at some point when this promotion is over, we now have enough readers for this, for Versus, to go build pitch packages and go get this onto Apple TV or Netflix or whoever it is. So that's just one example of the strategy. We are going for eyeballs. We are going for attention. And that's an investment on our part too, because we're producing the stuff, we're publishing the stuff, and then we're spending a couple of years not making money on the stuff to turn the flywheel so that we can make a lot of money on stuff. More context.
So I just want to highlight too is that when you're top of a category, let's say you're the #1 sci-fi book on Amazon, you're going to start picking up a lot of eyeballs and a lot of organic sales. And that's a huge part of the flywheel. One huge advantage we have with Star Atlas is the community. Everybody's going to go buy those books. The positive reviews, there's a huge flywheel spinning power that the community has. So maybe talk a little bit about that. What happens if a book gets to the top of a category?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So there's two flywheels that we're talking about here that are related but not different. Okay, so the first one is actually category, what you're saying. That's absolutely true. And there's a lot of I saw a lot of talk about, well, we could do this smaller. Well, you can, but then that's when you're actually wasting your money. You could spend half and be wasting way more money than the way this works, because you have everything working together, again, to turn a flywheel. So if you have a lot of category recognition, that helps. And one book will promote the other book, will promote the other book, especially if we're really mindful of our CTAs, which of course we will be, so that every single book leads to the larger world, leads to the Star Atlas list. And I'm not under any illusions that there's going to be some mass conversion and you guys are going to have thousands and thousands of new players. That's not the goal. That is a definite side effect of the strategy. But the strategy is to raise the profile of the IP overall. And I saw a lot of also discussion in Discord about, well, we could just get some people to put some books out there. Like, why not? Because, well, the reason is because there's already so much content and a lot of it is garbage, especially in the self-publishing space. And what we're trying to do is create a core so that it's really strong IP and people actually care, and you have readers and you have kind of a rabid fan base. Because what happens after that is that the world is proven, and Star Atlas already has this amazing model where people can publish in it and make money, and the royalty structures are very generous, which is really, really appealing to authors. Authors, like most authors, yes, they want to make money, but what they actually care about is people reading their work. They just want to know that there is an audience for the things that they're creating. And we have an amazing reputation in the self-publishing space. I would argue the best reputation there is in the self-publishing space. And if we can prove this world is profitable and fun and there are readers there, then we can easily get many, many, many writers in the community writing on your behalf for free and building out your world. But we need to do it right first. Otherwise, it's just a junkie alley. But imagine you have the flywheel that we create with top tier stuff up at the top doing well with a full marketing push. But then you have this second phase of everybody coming into the water because it's already warm.
One thing I want to talk about is Google's 0 moment of truth study, which is that to convert someone into a customer right now, you need about 7 hours of consumption. Now that can include Discord, X, YouTube, books, and the games themselves. And then you also need anywhere from 11 to 20 exposures. And from a marketing perspective, like my business, we're in 12 different channels. And we see that podcast drives retail demand, and everything kind of cross links with each other. That's just how it works. And I do think that the books will help make a lot more people aware of Star Atlas and then drive them to other channels. Sean, you want to pull up the slides and we can go through that? I know some people are attacking this PIP and they haven't even looked at the slides yet. So probably a good time to share those. There should be a button, looks like a monitor with an arrow in it. It says share your screen.
Yeah, hold on real quick. I'm just opening it. Okay. And then share my screen. Yes. All right. I'm always afraid when I share my screen that like porn ID and download is just going to show up.
Porn.
Yeah. Can you guys see this?
No, we can't see anything, but I would also make sure you're sharing the application itself. Let's see if it.
Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So
not loading.
So this is exactly the kind of thing I would make if I was strategizing for somebody. And all of this is hilarious. I had no idea.
Really quick, I don't want to cut you off, but do you mind restarting the stream?
Yeah, stop it and try again.
Yeah. All right. I'm so sorry, you guys. I don't mean to be this gimpy.
Oh, believe me, this happens all the time here. It's totally okay. It's totally okay.
All right. I'm glad to hear that.
Business as usual, my friend. It's all good.
I mean, usually the mods get kicked out or can't get a functional mic. So you're doing good.
Okay, can we see this?
Loading.
Hold on.
Getting cubes. Let me
It's
see if
not-
I can bring
it's
it
not.
up 1 second.
I can also share my screen too if needed.
Give me 1 sec, guys. While I pull this up, Newt, you've been unusually quiet because, obviously this is a PIP that is, definitely deeply in your world. What's your overall thoughts on that?
Yeah, Dom and I were planning on sharing our thoughts on the subject after the presentation. So I'll reserve myself the right as you try to pull it up to share those later. But
Okay.
yeah,
Fair
I
enough.
think it's going to be super impactful in the Star Atlas lore overall.
The only
But
thing
yeah,
I want to add here to what Jose's saying as well is I would really hope that everyone could also form their opinion after reading and understanding the contents of what's
exactly.
actually going into this. It doesn't matter to me whether or not you like it or dislike it. That is up for you guys to decide. But I have seen a couple comments just saying that Rome is the enemy or virtual is the enemy, blah blah blah. I would recommend that we don't think that way. I think we owe it to Star Atlas. We owe it to this dream that we want to achieve to give things a real chance and actually read into kind of what's going on here, and then formulate your own opinion. And if you still don't like it, that's totally okay.
Yeah,
I've just seen a couple
exactly.
people say that they just didn't like it because of the
Rome is Oni. Oni is the enemy.
yeah, Oni's the enemy. Yeah, exactly. The DAO is political. That is true.
I
Okay,
see
we
in
can
the
see it.
chat. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can
Yep.
hear you.
Yes.
Here.
Hey, I see in the chat people talking about gamers don't read books and stuff. Some do, but if you look at what the books become, if they can become that, look at what Witcher did on Netflix and how that game just skyrocketed again after being out for so long. Look what the Cyberpunk Edge Runners did for the game. So yeah, the books might not move the needle as much, but it's not about just the books. It's about the whole world.
Great points, David. Can you see my screen, Sean?
Yes.
All right, go for it.
All right, so I'm just kind of talking through this. Hold on, I get old. I got to put my glasses on now. Yeah, so really, this is about just putting the story first. The adaptation package right here. Actually, let's talk about 200K subscribers because that number is 200. There's another at 250, and somebody said, "How can they guarantee that?" I've seen a lot of that. We're not guaranteeing that at all. This is our goal. I love a big target. I love audacious goals. I think this is audacious, but I absolutely think it's achievable or I wouldn't put it down. And once you have that subscriber base, that is really, really valuable. So if you look at the strategy here, again, it's not about book sales. It's about trying to get Star Atlas the biggest possible list possible because that's just potent. There's nothing more potent than a list, but also this adaptation package. So it's not just that we have the screenplay. It's not just that we have the Bible. This is a big place where my personal investment comes in because not only am I writing the script, this is what I will be devoting my meetings to. Right now, I can get a meeting with anybody. It's very, very easy. My scripts are very readable, and I've never put one out that I didn't get a lot of positive attention and all the meetings I wanted. And this means that the meetings that I'm taking for the next year are not about, they're basically Star Atlas first. It doesn't mean nothing else will come of it. It means that that's what I'm putting first because I believe that we can do this. I believe in this world. And for example, Invasion is another big series that we had that was a 500,000 copies. And we were on pretty heavy pitches on that. And that fell through because Apple TV has a little show about alien invasions called Invasion. And so that's not going to go anywhere anytime soon. However, the relationships that started were amazing. And right now we're on the 5th episode of production of an animated series, sci-fi, that's coming out year after next, maybe next year, from Dean Devlin, who produced Independence Day. So this is a fast track way to get the Star Atlas universe in front of a lot of entertainment industry eyeballs, the people who make those billion-dollar decisions. So it's just not about book sales. If we were focused on book sales, we would actually be shitting the bed. This is the overall thing that we're talking about producing. And our first version of this was even more ambitious. There was a lot of stuff. It was a 2-year engagement, and we cut it down in basically half. But instead of just going half of all the content, we focused on the content that could integrate really well together. So every piece of this strategy works with the other pieces. The 4 premium novels are set to come out every quarter, and then we have the novellas at a consistent drip. And the reason, or just one of the reasons, that you want to have something out, frequently is because you stay relevant. So another criticism that I saw in Discord was, well, these books are coming out every month, like clearly that's shitty. Well, they're out every month because then you never fall off of what Amazon has, something called the 30-day cliff, which means you're algorithmically relevant for 30 days. That is when the machine learning decides who your ideal buyer is. And then after 30 days, if you don't have something new, you go off. If we have something in this same world and every 30 days or less, there is something else hitting, then Star Atlas stays algorithmically relevant the entire time we have the campaign going with top tier content, which really does make a difference. And no one else in the blockchain space is doing anything like this. So aside from us, you guys could do your own PR where a lot of attention comes to this initiative.
One quick comment I want to make is around the free apartment viral acquisition strategy. So Sean's idea here is we would give people a small little habitat inside of the Star Atlas metaverse. This has not been approved by Automata yet. So obviously there would be some workload there, but it could be a powerful strategy to get people into the universe.
Right. And this is just basically our hey, here's our credibility. We really understand how to do this. We've done it for ourselves. We've done it for many clients. We help to build the fabric. So it's not just the 400 books that we have under our own umbrella, which have had many different strategies. Some of them are just meant to get us in front of people that we have written entire books just to get a conversation with somebody, because that's our business. It's all about relationships and it's all about IP. So we want to, distilled to its simplest form, our business model is build amazing shit and then talk about it and get it in front of as many people as possible. Because once there's a conversation or a cultural ripple, it becomes very, very easy to scale, because IP is not bought on performance, it's bought on potential. It's very much like the way Silicon Valley works. It's very much, it's not, you're not looking at EBITDA, you're looking at what can this thing possibly do? And the numbers get out of control when you're talking about the entertainment industry. These are just a few of our big hits. Reginald the Vampire was the, now this is a good example of the marketing department doing a terrible name. This book had over 1 million readers before it went to Universal, but the president of Universal took umbrage with the word fat. The original book was Fat Vampire. Fat Vampire would have been a big hit on TV. Reginald the Vampire, what the fuck is that? I don't know. So I feel like sci-fi kind of shot themselves in the foot by changing the name, but that was our first TV hit. Right now we have 5 projects in development. Invasion was what got us a lot of attention, and Yesterday's Gone was our first big commercial hit.
But by the way, there's already demand from the community to make sure that all the content is non-woke. So
yes, we have gotten rid of our Better Off Undead podcast, but I assure you that we have no problem saying things that might get us in trouble someday.
And also all the mud, which is the augmented humans, they want beards. They feel slighted because their crew packs were beardless, woke-looking augmented humans. So, and no rainbow.
Yes,
here.
I mean, our whole goal is to work with the existing lore and elevate it, not to just come in and start throwing shit around at all. Sorry, this is small on my screen. So yeah, this is basically just the flywheel. This is what we're trying. It's not one thing, it's many, many things. So again, we are not trying to sell books. We are trying to build a universe that is really connected and allows us to expand it. Because if we all do our jobs, then there's no reason for a year two. There's no funding in year two because this is self-sustaining at that point. And we don't just get into more books. We don't just have this first tier. We're using, our own resources. We're paying our team to get this stuff done. But we also have a lot of writers in our studio who work on royalty rather than payment and would be happy to join the party. And so really, we just need to create something that is sexy enough to have our internal writers and other external writers join it. I don't know that we have enough time here. We are kind of late, so it might be next year. But Author Nation is in November. I speak every year at Author Nation. That's a really easy place to gather a lot of not just storytellers, but people with big lists, people who are already making a lot of money in the sci-fi space, who decide, oh, wow, there's already this community over here. There's already this ecosystem over here. I'd like to join. And what Virtual said earlier is absolutely true. We do have extra aces in our deck because you guys never, ever, ever have to pay for any of these books. We'll have download links where you can get them for free. But when they're free on Amazon, you can also download them for free, leave reviews, and really, skyrocket the algorithms, because that's how it works, especially once we're past the 30-day cliff and it doesn't matter what your buying history on Amazon is. We'll just send traffic. Hey, download this as many times as you can. And there will be a massive magnetic effect over that.
Hey, Nude, we have some new creatures here.
Yeah, that's just me fucking with AI. Making the deck. Yeah, and I saw that too, you guys, for like cover approval and stuff like that. We will absolutely include you in some of those design aspects, but covers are not about what looks great. Covers are conversion. So all of our covers get tested. We run Facebook ads to know what cover is going to convert the best. Even if we're not selling the book and we just want eyeballs on the book, we want to know what's going to get the most eyeballs. So we're not going to make cover choices based on what looks the most awesome. We're going to try to make the most awesome looking cover based on what gets the most traction.
Yeah, split testing is one of my favorite things in the world. And covers are split testable, right?
Yes. These are just examples. And yeah, of course, we're cherry picking the best examples. That's what you do when you put a pitch together. You're not looking for averages. You're looking for the outliers. You're looking for the goals. You're looking for the, oh shit, that was a big swing. I want to take one just as big. These are the big swings. It does take a long time to do this. I'm not under any illusion that it's going to be done within the year that this contract is over. But we can do a lot of shit in a year, and then we could do even more shit in the next year, building on the shit from the first year. So yeah, these are big examples, but that's what we're going for here.
Yeah, again, we're living in a transmedia universe.
IP controls the entertainment industry right now, and you guys could have the best game around, and it's still not enough. There's a bunch of games, and you see the game industry starts moving into IP. In fact, the very first, no, probably not, one of the first 5 calls that we took when we went into when we were moving from publishing into IP in 2023 was with Ubisoft. And they were like, we need to get more stuff to market, because that's where like the big money comes from. They want to know that IP exists. They want to know that if they make something based on a game, there's other people who are going to be interested in the ecosystem. It's all about merch. It's all about eyeballs. It's all about synergy and all those words that are kind of silly, but they matter. They matter to the people spending all the money.
One thing I read this week was that in the age of AI, the top IPs are going to be the main driver, right? Because I'm going to drop a link to an amazing platform. I don't know if you guys have heard of this, called Showrunner. Basically, people are going to be able to create content and shows using AI, and it's going to be like a Netflix service. And Star Atlas could have their IP there, and you could have a bunch of people creating shows, which then gives royalties to Star Atlas. And I think Showrunner is going to be massive. So
Yeah,
these,
I agree.
These books,
I totally agree.
yeah, and like all this stuff that you guys are going to create, is great material to create offshoots and showrunner content, and using all these other tools to bring it to life on YouTube Shorts and YouTube content, and it's just infinite, right? There's a lot of derivative work that can be done. So
yeah, I've been waiting for something like Showrunner for 10 years. What has happened to the self-publishing industry with books and with music will absolutely happen with film and television. And it is something like Showrunner that will make it happen. It's not going to be YouTube, because the discoverability is just totally different. It needs to be a story-centric platform. But yeah, if you guys have core IP and people can go in and make fan shit on that, that's how you blow up. It's so much faster than the game can ever get you there alone. Now, granted, my perspective is completely IP based, because that's where I spend all of my time, all of my life is in this space. So of course a carpenter always sees the nail with his hammer, but this to me isn't just clear, it's like it's inevitable that if you build story around a universe this big, and you have exponential value over time. That is the magical equation with content. It's quality plus content plus time. And, most people want to shortchange one of those three. Yeah, this is so the free apartment initiative is, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to work. I can't pretend that I know that's going to work, because I've never done anything like that before. But it's novel. It's interesting. I could see the curiosity enough. You are talking about the one genre of all book genres where the reader tends to be very forward thinking, a little more experimental. And if there was a genre that could get away with this strategy, it's this one. A minor conversion seems like it would be great for you guys, and this also could be something that outperforms. It's a bit of a wild card, but I love it. Yeah, this is just where we want visibility, and some of these we don't really know, because there may be a new platform that we'll want to jump onto. There may be one of these three platforms outperforms the other ones and we move over there. This is just, we want to go where all the audience is. So we're going to spend some time creating the best serial possible. And then if we need to slightly readapt it for a certain platform, we will do that. But Shep, who is, sure, lurking somewhere on this call, is very good on, he's a data guy. He's a data guy enough that it annoys the pure artists in the company that we are very data driven right now in the decisions that we make, from the books that we greenlight to the covers that we use.
Oh, great marketing is half mathematics, half psychology. So yeah, you need those data guys.
Yes. He's made our company better, even if he makes the artists sweat a little more. So yeah, we need time to do this. Like, it doesn't happen overnight. So we would want to work with you guys. We want to work with the lore and make sure that we have all of the elements that we need, so that you guys love this stuff as much. And I know not everyone here is a reader. Not everyone's going to love the books, but the goal is that everybody loves the initiative. The goal is that everybody loves the results. The goal is that everybody loves the conversation happening around this universe. And that just takes a year. It takes a year to get the content created, and then get the content out, and then market it, and then we'll be there for the next year anyway. So to be clear on payments, it's a year's worth of payments, but then we carry the ball after that, not just the next year. So it was originally a 2-year plan with 2 years payment, and we made it a 2-year plan with 1-year payment. And then we also are obviously going to carry it through, because if it's successful, then it's in our, first of all, it's in our best interest to make this as successful as possible. And then once that flywheel is turning, why would we ever turn away from it?
We could probably skip over this one, but yeah, basically try to drive people into the metaverse. Right? You can go through the phase 1 production.
Yeah, this is the this is the hardest part for us and probably for you guys too, because it's a lot of like waiting around. It's a lot of just like figuring stuff out, but it's also critical. So we do a lot in pre-production. Pre-production is where we make sure all the stories work together. We have my forever editor. Her name is Bonnie, and she was so sought after in the self-publishing community that we only got our CEO because Bonnie was like, "Fuck off! I only work with Sterling and Stone." So Neve joined the company to get closer to Bonnie. All right, so she's an amazing structural editor, and her favorite series of all time is The Expanse. She's very, very excited about this. Wade, who is also lurking on the call, will be in lore, and we will basically take your existing lore and map it to a really, really big vision. And then once that's all in place and we all feel really good, then that's when we write. But of course, Star Atlas is essential to that process.
One thing I want to comment on that's happening on the game side, and I think would be really cool and exciting on the content side, is getting feedback from the community. Like in Web3 gaming or any sort of Web3 development, like the team is constantly launching ideas and features, and then they get a wave of feedback and then they improve the product. So I think that is going to be a unique experience you guys haven't really had yet.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, so this stuff, you guys, whatever. Like honestly, we were making up ideas that could go. This is all very, very raw because when we go into story development, we go deep. So this will get a lot more fleshed out. This was basically like, what can we get excited about in this very 1.0 space? Same. Yeah, these are just what are some commercial ideas that we could explore? Yeah,
Now,
same on all this.
talk about the serialized lists, because having been a marketer for a long time, building a list, an email list is one of the most valuable assets you can have. Anyone who's been in marketing and has a big email list knows that. So yeah, talk a little bit about the serialized list strategy.
Yeah, this is actually probably, other than the overall elevation of the IP and just the value of the universe, this is where the most value is. It's just in the list, because if you can build this big list and you don't just have current gamers on it, you have people who have the potential to enter the world. So yeah, maybe they're book readers and they're not normally into this kind of thing at all. But I mean, any marketer on this call knows that it's pretty straightforward to get somebody excited about something if you're speaking their language and you're entering the conversation that's already in their head. So if they're in love with this world and you give them an on-ramp to go experiencing it in a different context, there is always going to be a percentage that does that. So the list becomes really valuable, not just as a mechanism to get people engaged in the behavior that you want them to be engaged in, but also, again, you know, talking to the entertainment industry, anyone that you're pitching the universe on, if you say, hey, I have a list of 100,000, like you don't even need 200,000, 100,000 people on an active reader list is massive. That's massive. If you say we have 100,000 people on this reader list and we also have this active video game in this community, that's a really, really great package already.
Yeah, and also that's where you cross promote things. You know, drive people to HoloSim, drive people to UE5, sell them crew packs, drive them to Sage, and there's some other marketing material that's almost completed coming soon that would be perfect for that. So I know we're getting close to the clock and people want to ask questions. So I think you covered pretty much all of it. I will drop the link in the chat, so if anybody wants to take a look at it in a deeper way, they can. Dom, back to you. I don't know what you want to do next, so maybe share your thoughts and get Newt's thoughts, and then we can take some Q&A.
Yeah, let's take a few questions. While you guys are typing up your questions here, I'll just give my quick thoughts here. Um, I was talking with everyone in that thread last night, but what I said last night is I'm honestly in favor of whatever grows Star Atlas, whatever grows our community, whatever grows our IP. I am also personally a gigabull on our IP. I think we're sitting on one of the strongest IPs potentially ever.
All right, wait. I just gotta stop you because
Mhm.
that's the second time I've heard or seen that word giggable, and I fucking love it. So awesome.
Yeah. So I think our IP has immense potential. I am in favor of anything that is going to grow our community, our game, our audience, our IP, and this is the first time that we've seen something from the DAO that is aiming to do something like that. I would say personally, the what I want to see come from the DAO personally the most, and this is just my opinion, not Automata's, is helping grow the community, helping grow the IP, and this is the kind of the first thing that has come up, and that's why I'm so supportive of it. I also just think it's a good idea. So I personally I like the idea. I like it. I think some people are getting stuck on um, the kind of headline $600,000 number. I would just say that uh, anything worth doing is worth doing right, in my eyes, in my opinion. And if that means doing something that costs a substantial amount of capital, I think it's worth it personally. Like I said, just me on my own personal opinion. So I'm in favor of something like this. I do think that you guys in the community have come up with some very very true things that you guys would like to see added into the proposal, like check-ins and kind of figuring that kind of stuff out. So I think there is room for improvement. That's for damn sure. But overall, I personally like it. I do personally like it. So, Jose, what do you think? What are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I'll share my opinion now. And I'm sorry that I have not been participating more in the PIP discussions. I received lots of angry DMs asking me to share my thoughts, to manifest here. And the reason is very simple. I'll be completely honest with you guys. As you guys know, I am very, very protective of the Star Atlas lore and IP. For me, this is the most important thing in Star Atlas. This is what's going to make us the most powerful game in Web3 and even go beyond that to the Web2 world. The lore here is is being carefully built to achieve this dream of creating this most exciting exploration universe that we aim to create here in Star Atlas. So this goes without saying. This is like a sine qua non condition for this PIP to advance is that Automata will hold final sayings in all lore questions. I think this is totally fine as far as I have been talking with Virtual and other involved here. We'll have the final sayings on any questions related to the Staratas lore. This is something that we must protect and love. And this is a prerequisite. Nothing will move outside of the canon. This is important for us. This is important for the game. This is important for this dream to become a reality. The second point that I will make here is that the Staratas lore has actually been developed with this idea that other people would come in the future and help us co-create our universe. Decentralization is one of our tenets, company-wide, and right now I am talking and overseeing 5 different community members who have been building stuff in the Staratas universe. Of course, their work will not be part of the canon, but they have their pride as authors. They are really into the Staratas lore, and they have been very dedicated. And I have been giving them pointers, and I have structured our universe or lore building in a way that first, right now, we are creating the foundations of Star Atlas. What are the cosmic currents? What are the different species, the different factions, how the world logics work, so that someday someone can use this foundation and create the novels, create more writings, new series, and etc. Everything is built having this in mind. But from our side, from Automata side, right now we don't have the bandwidth to properly give the care that the lore deserves. In the sense that I am the only one working on that front, dedicated right now, and even I am required to help in other teams. You guys know that I work here in the community team. I work with uh, Holocene. I work with UE5. I work with the artists. So yeah, it leaves me with not too much room to develop the lore by myself. Like I can't be a dedicated writer 24/7, as I have expressed many times my desire internally and externally here in Star Atlas, which makes me happy. If this PIPS passes, I'll tell you guys that this will be very good for the José in the company, because this will allow me to have a team of people working in developing the Stratas lore. So José, as a team member, loves this PIP idea. Uh, those guys, as you guys saw, they are professionals. They know what they are doing. They have a great proposal in terms of they have a vision. They know how to do this. They have done this before, and they would help build this dream. José, as the community member, sees this as an opportunity, but also sees the risks involved. I mean, you can be the best in your profession and even then fail. You can have a good product, but the market's not fit at that moment. And that's part of life. This is part of existence. Nothing is guaranteed. And it's a huge commitment for our DAO. We are talking about 30% of everything that goes there. But that that money right now is just sitting out there and has been sitting for a long time now. What are we going to do to grow the Star Atlas universe? How are we carrying the responsibility of making this game move forward? This PIP has sparked conversation. It for me, this is already a huge win in all fronts, because right now you guys see the necessity of moving forward this ecosystem, and it's super important to put the money to work. I don't think getting greedy and waiting until Atlas and Polis go to the moon is the right move for the DAO. The DAO needs to move right now. So the reason that I haven't been extremely vocal about this is because I have those two inner conflicting thoughts right now. From the José team member, lore side, this would be a huge help for me. This would speed up my plans of building the Star Atlas universe by years, decades maybe. But as a community member, it is a huge commitment. I know it can fail, but at the same time, I also know that we need to move forward. So those are my honest thoughts. That's my opinion, and I won't tell you guys what to do because all of us are co-owners of the DAO's money. But I can't stop from thinking what would happen if something as crazy as this goes forward and succeeds. I like to be positive. I really believe in the lore that I have built. I believe in this company. I believe in hard work. I believe in people knowing what they're doing. And personally, yeah, I would like to see this happening. Of course, the PIP can have improvements. We don't need to pass everything. We can investigate points of this PIP. But yeah, I would love to see this happening, being a reality to some extent.
Thank you, Minute. I do have to hop, but you guys can keep the Q&As going. Sean actually built a Kevlar vest to handle the Q&A, so he's ready.
I did. I loved hearing all of that. I think that was great. One thing that I will say, if we're ending quickly, is that I did see a lot of comments about taking other bids. By all means, with the caveat that I literally don't think there's anyone else in the world who can do what we're doing strategically, commercially, production wise, and offering to partner with you. So if you can find those people, I would suggest doing like a deep mana search or a ChatGPT search with deep research on, put in all the parameters and find vendors who could possibly help or partners who could possibly help. I don't think you'll find them because this is bespoke, you guys. This is an opportunity that I saw because I think you can do it. I would not have spent my months on this otherwise. And honestly, if I had a full understanding of what PIP meant and what this meant, I never would have taken it this far. But now I'm in. I think this is cool, and I want to swing all the way. So I'm very, very interested. But if you guys want to look for bids, you should do that. I just don't even know how you would possibly go about such a thing.
I'm going to give my quick answer to Neil Armstrong's question around the, why shouldn't you guys take all the risk? The answer is that there's exponentially more value being unlocked by this that Sterling and Stone is not going to capture. Atlas price going up if this blows up, ship sales, crew sales, holo sim revenue, they're not getting any of that. Automata is, the DAO would be capturing some of that. Atlas token holders would be getting some of that. So, asking them to risk 600 grand to generate more eyeballs for the entire ecosystem with basically almost zero risk or zero chance of being able to capture all the upside is not a smart deal for them. So that's my answer to that. But anyways, take care, guys. You guys can keep going with the Q&A. Thank you so much, Dom, Newt, for having us on. And then tomorrow we'll be continuing the conversation on Nord's podcast. So we'll have King Brian Lancer, who's a DAO Council member, and we'll continue the convo over there. All right, guys. Take care.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, man. I've seen another question come up. I could probably do like one or two more just because I know we have a bunch of questions out there. I've seen another question come up about, there's been over 2,000 messages about this topic at this point. Have you guys considered any edits to the PIP already? And if so, what are those PIP edits looking like?
Is this question for me?
Yeah. I for you guys. I'm not sure if you guys have been collaborating on the actual, what the PIP looks like and what's part of that PIP, and if you guys have discussed kind of the feedback that you guys have gotten from the community, and if you guys are willing or want to take any of that feedback in and make any edits to kind of the proposal or anything like that. I know some things that people have talked about are like check-ins to make sure things are working well. I'm not sure how all that works with the kind of selling.
I think that check-ins are already part of it. Like it's a monthly thing, and if we're not doing our shit, then like pull the plug. But we've been doing our shit for 13 years, so I'm not worried about that. I believe that those check-ins are already part of it, and if they're not, then of course they should be. The things that I would object to that I've seen as far as PIP revisions are things like cover design coming from you guys, like that inhibits us doing our job. So anything that that changes the our ability to maximize our results, I would push back on. And if there's a budget thing and you want to reallocate it, we can decide how the best way to restructure that is. We already did that once, and I know that you guys are seeing this fresh, but we spent a long time figuring out what to do and how to make it go as far as possible. And again, this is the strategy that I would have designed based on where I think the IP can go and what it needs to get there. It doesn't mean that's totally right. It can always be reshaped, but I think what we have is really good. And I hesitate on paring it down any, because then you just get diluted results. I've seen a lot of that. Well, can we go slowly and see how it goes? That's not really how the strategy goes. Then you just kind of end up wasting some money because you don't have enough gas in the tank.
Mm-hmm. That kind of, you kind of touched on this, and I want to make sure because I've seen this question a couple times too. But Jan was asking, are you guys open to spreading this out over 24 to 30 months instead? And I'm guessing you just answered that question, right?
Yeah, it's the same thing. I mean, we could do that. Totally different strategy. Totally different strategy, and the pricing would have to be different, because what we're essentially doing right now is building like a task force around this. Like we will have, like Wade is going to be in charge of this. Like we kind of held the door open for a little bit, because like I didn't know how involved this part of the process was, and my first step was convincing my CEO how awesome this was. Like, hey, this is going to be really great. This is awesome, and it's definitely had more hiccups, but that makes sense. You know, like even the shit show that is the Discord over the last week has been entertaining, and the bottom line of what I'm seeing is there's not just like hate for hate's sake. It's people are passionate. They care. They don't want, you know, foreigners coming in and stomping all over the world that they're creating. I get that. I totally get that. So we're not here to do that. Like, I loved hearing how important the lore is, because we are storytellers. Like, I'm the most commercially minded in the company by far. And no, I mean, Shep is when it comes to data. I mean, for like big plays and big strategies, like I'm born for this kind of thing. And I love adopting this as my next big swing. And I take a lot of big swings. Historically, I'm pretty great. Historically, I don't mean like I'm awesome. I mean, the swings that I take, I tend to hit. I miss every once in a while, but I hit way more often. And if you look at my track record, it's exceptional, because I care and I go deep. And when I commit myself to something, I commit myself. And in this case, I'm committing, you know, like an entire story studio to this idea. And spreading that out over a couple of years deflates the balloon. Like, it makes our internal storytellers less excited. It makes us less committed to this whole idea. Like, what we have right now is the ability to kind of create an entire department in our company that blows Star Atlas up. And if we dilute that, we dilute it. And so, yes, we can do that. I wouldn't suggest it.
Awesome. And just two more questions here for you guys, and then I do have to hop. I had a meeting 10 minutes ago that I'm late for, but this is also super important, and I know the community has a bunch of questions, and this is a big deal, so I want to get these questions answered. So two more questions here. First one being, what risks are you guys taking as a company in the current implement? And then the second question would be, would you guys be willing to accept vested Atlas, which is our token, as partial payment?
That's a question for my CEO. My guess is no. I mean, I've already brought it for this long, and our investment is time and money and resources and opportunity cost. And I totally get it. I totally get from the outside looking in. $600,000, really, asshole? Where's your risk? I get it. I totally get it. But we have a business to run, and my cost alone, when I usually do this in nonfiction. So I work with like thought leaders or somebody who wants to put a book out, and they want that book to not just drop off the charts, you know, 3 months after launch. They want it to be relevant 5-10 years later, like a real perennial seller. That's where I spend a lot of my time, and I charge $200,000 for one of those books. Those books are simpler than these big sci-fi lore books. They're more money for less time. This is very, like, the amount of resources that we are devoting to making this happen are substantial. As a company, actual like money going out on testing, payroll, all of that, and then opportunity costs. They're both very high for this. Do I think it's worth it? Absolutely. I believe in this universe, but it's not like our investment is already high.
Well, I just want to repeat for everyone here. Take a look at the PIP. Thank you guys so much for joining, by the way. I know you guys stepped into an environment that you guys are probably not used to, with, you know, being so public facing and everyone analyzing everything you say and everything you do and all this stuff. So I just want to commend you guys. Thank you guys so much for coming up here and talking about this and answering some hard hitting questions. I know it's not easy, personally. So, anyways, like I was saying, everybody, thank you guys so much for joining us today, too. If you guys want to discuss this, there is a PIP thread going on right now, and I know you guys have a ton of questions So go ahead and go to that thread right there if you want to continue to ask your questions, continue to talk with these guys. I just want to reiterate that I am personally in support. While my support, it does not directly coincide with Automata's support. This is just my own personal, as myself, Dominic Hegarty. I do support it. I think it is time that we invest in our community, we invest in our IP and growing ourselves. So I think it's a good opportunity to do so, and these guys seem to be extremely passionate about it. So I'm in support of it. Thank you guys so much. Jose, anything to close off on, my brother?
No, don't. Thank you guys for being here with us discussing this. And they have been answering questions in the Infinite Star Atlas IP thread. So if you guys have more questions, please feel free to ask them there. Also, if we need another brew on this topic, I think we can do it later. But otherwise, it was very helpful, very insightful. Thank you guys for coming, being patient. And for the Star Atlas community, keep doing what you guys are doing. This is democracy. I love seeing this happening. Brian's saying that there will be a DAO stream tomorrow where they will discuss more of this topic. So make sure to join and be there.
W's in chat for them guys. W's in chat for Son and David. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye bye.
Take care.
Appreciate you. See you guys.